Hey Lan, hi folks, it's Lev. Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new, I use him pronouns. This video is sort of a different topic to stuff I'm usually talk about on this channel. And I just want to sort of, in a way, reflect on life and it might sound weird, but the universe, my subconscious, my gut, and just how the sequence of events that sort of played out in my life and just my thoughts on that and how things happen in alignment. I mean, it just works out. Things just start falling together in my world, and I don't plan a lot of it, and things just happen, and I'm like, oh, so I want to just be exploring this thing that I've noticed happen in my life. I don't fully know where to start with this video because I'm just still processing and piecing thoughts together. And this video is sort of like me brain vomiting out my thoughts and in hopes of it helping me trying to piece this together, and I'm just gonna share it on the internet, which is most of my videos. Yep, so in a way, life, the universe, and also my internal compass and subconscious and gut seem to guide me in directions where at first I don't necessarily agree with it, I don't necessarily understand it, but then as time goes on and the bigger picture starts to form, all the pieces and all the directions I go in end up falling into place, and it's been working out in the grand scheme of things. For example, work. One example is work. I quit my first job because I was overwhelmed with the workload and the lack of support. I just felt like I was manning a lot of the ship and I didn't have much support in that particular role. And then I quit. The second job I was in, I ended up being made redundant out of nowhere. It was unexpected. I was made redundant. I was called into a meeting and then they were like, we're terminating your employment now. We're terminating you because apparently they can't afford to pay me. And then I was made redundant out of the blue. Just called into me, end your job now. Don't work for the rest of the day. We'll pay you out for a redundancy period, and then you're basically not with us anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Honestly, I was really mad at the time. At the time, I was really mad. And with my first job at the time, I was also really mad because I kept saying I needed support, I needed help, I can't keep doing this on my own. And it seemed to not be heard and nothing seemed to be action, and I sort of got fed up and then I quit. And then the second job was made redundant and I was also really mad. And I'm like, what? There was no warning, there was no discussion, there was not even any discussion with in advance being maybe we need to let some staff go, yada yada yada. It was just out of the blue, called me into a meeting, boom, you're gone. And then I was really annoyed. But at the same time, just after I was made redundant from that job and in the job I'm currently in, there was a job ad for the job I'm currently in. I applied for it. I got interviewed and I got into the job that I'm currently in. And the time that I was made redundant and the time that I was looking for new work, it aligned perfectly. The job I'm currently in, the company was looking for people during the time, just the period I was made redundant, and then I applied and I ended up getting in. And I'm like, what kind of magic universe sorcery is this? Because I just lost my job, and then the universe is like, here's another job at a place that would be much more fitting for you. And I'm like, this is what I mean by I don't know how this works, but it just worked. It just aligned perfectly. Some universe magic made this whole thing align perfectly. An example about with like guidance with by my gut and my subconscious is my name change. So Lev isn't my birth name. I changed my name like 8 months after coming out as trans. During the month of my birthday, actually, August in 2020, my brain was just like, we don't like your birth name anymore. Go with a different name. And then I ended up resonating with Lev, which I got from The Last of Us Part 2, which is a video game. And then I was trying it socially, and then I ended up liking it, and then I kept it, and I changed it legally. The point is, I didn't know why my brain wanted to change names at the time, and I didn't know why my brain wanted to go with Lev. Like it did, like the other names didn't resonate with me, and then Lev came up, and I mean I remembered Lev or something, yeah, jogged my memory. And I'm like, oh, Lev, and then it just resonated with me. I didn't know why at the time. I'm just like, oh, it's a nice name, it's a cool name, I can see myself in it, but I didn't really know why. And then down the line, I was looking at what Lev means, and then I keep forgetting which order it's in. Like, it's like in Hebrew, Lev means heart. In Slavic or Greek, depending on the website on the internet, it means lion. And then I put Lionheart together, and then I googled what Lionheart means, and it's like someone who's brave and courageous. And I'm like, that sounds like me. And then I resonate with that, and then that's why I'm like, my nickname is Lionheart Lev. And then it was just like, and then I'm like, right, that's why my subconscious like 2 years ago was telling me to go in this, 3 years ago was telling me to go in this direction and go with Lev. Now I understand it. It happens a lot where like things happen in the moment, and then like I don't understand why it happens, and then I get annoyed at it, and then I like sometimes ruminate, being like, oh, I wish it didn't happen. Like, I can't believe this is happening to me. And then like later down the line, I'm like, all right, I'm glad it happened to me because it ended up working out really well. Another example is relationships and dating. Like my ex and I broke up. We broke up like 7 months ago, like October last year. And then I was like going on a few dates with this one person I met online. I went on a few dates with him like late March and last month, like March, April this year. I went on a few dates with him. And then I did like him. And then, but I realized we're not compatible. Like I realized incompatibility. And the other thing I realized was that I was sort of going down the same route as my last relationship. It was like, I won't go into it, like just the trauma cycle. I could see the red flags that if I were to keep going with this, that it would end up repeating my last relationship, with the red flags and the signs and the incompatibility and things that just we're just not on the same page, and it's we're too different for a relationship to work. And so I told him like, this isn't gonna work. Us dating continue, like it's not going to work. But yeah, and it also made me helped me realize that I need compatibility in dating someone and relationships. Like that's something that I didn't really think of that well. It was more like I like this person in the past. I mean, with my ex, it was more like I like this person. We get along well, and that was my criteria essentially. And it's like I was too broad with who I was dating essentially, and what I realized from this brief few dates of like dating experience with this person, like we weren't in a relationship, just like going on dates and dating, is that I need to be more stringent with my criteria of who I choose to date, and like consider being in relationships with. And I need to be more picky essentially, and not just settle for anyone essentially. So yeah, that's another example of the whole like just the life guiding me in a direction so I can learn, so it preps me for future stuff. Like that brief experience with dating again also made me realize that I don't want to be in a relationship right now, and I don't want to be dating right now because it's not really a priority. It's not a priority right now for me. And it's also help me realize that it's not a priority for me. It's not something I want right now. It's not something I'm willing to fight for right now and like put effort in, even just dating. And if I like someone, then continue to go on dates with them and put effort into building something. That's also made me realize that. Just on the dating as well, I essentially recognized the red flags before I got in too deep. And then I'm like, essentially was like, fuck this. I am not repeating the trauma cycle. I'm not repeating the trauma cycle. I'm not going down that path again. And I'm going to just end it right here, right now. I'm not going any further with this essentially because it was painful, and I do not want to do that to myself again, because I already learned from the first time that is not something I want to do again. So I realized that I gave like 3 examples in this video already, and it's to illustrate like what I'm trying to like conceptualize as like the universe and life and my subconscious and my God pointing me in a direction that it 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 needs me to go in. It's like the relationship with my ex, that experience was absolutely painful. I'm not saying every single thing about the relationship. Like overall, it was not healthy for me, and it was painful and traumatic. My previous 2 jobs before my current job were were also painful and not an ideal workplace for me. The workplaces weren't ideal for me. And then now I'm in a better place, in a better job, in a better company. I'm I've learned a lot from. It's like life has put me through the shitty experiences to help me learn. It's like trial and error. I make mistakes, I fuck up, and then I learn from it. I gain knowledge from it. I build myself up from it. It's like my baseline was very low before. Like I didn't know anything about dating. I didn't have standards. I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know red flags. I didn't know what would work for me and what wouldn't work for me. In terms of work, I've gone from significantly lacking in confidence to being a lot more confident and having a lot more skills and knowledge and stuff about how to do the work better essentially, and the people skills and all of these very important things in mental health work. I've gone through like this awful period, and now I'm sort of going on an upward trajectory in life some overall. And it's like I don't like going through all the trauma and the shitty periods, but I if it wasn't for all of this, then I wouldn't be where I am today, and I would just in future, like if the shit didn't happen already, I would still be naive and not as equipped to deal with these different situations and deal with it, manage it, navigate all of these life things. And I would just still be, I'm not saying I don't fumble now, it's just I'm a lot smarter and more equipped to deal with whatever comes up. Not saying I'm never going to make mistakes, that's not what I'm saying. It's I'm a better version of me now thanks to all the things that life has put me through, even though I hated it. It was traumatic. A lot of pain essentially has led me to this point. I think I mentioned before, it's like it's almost as if the universe and life is like prepping me. It's just like, okay, you're meant to be at this place at this point in time, and then you're meant to be at this place at this point in time. I'm not saying the universe, it does everything. I'm not saying I have absolutely no control. It's like, say for example, if life presented an opportunity, right, and I didn't take it, or say with difficult situations in the past, I could have just sat there and blamed the world, which I did when I was in my severe depressive and anxious headspace with mental health plaguing my mind. But I don't do that anymore. I could say, for example, with my not unpleasant work situation and relationship situation and whatnot, it's like after it all happened, or I could just sit here and blame everyone and blame the world and not take accountability and make something of it. It's like it already happened. I can't go back in time and change what happened. I can't change people, nor is that my responsibility. But what I can do is work on myself, learn from the situation, reflect on the situation, just sort of take advantage of what has happened, even though it's shitty. Take advantage of what happened by using that situation and the lessons from it and whatever I can extract from it, essentially, and using it to fuel my own growth and knowledge and all of the just continuing to level up, essentially. And if I didn't do that, then I again wouldn't be here. So it's not just the universe. It's more like the universe giving me these opportunities and putting me through these situations so that I am able to learn from it if I choose to, which I have been choosing to. Otherwise, again, I wouldn't be where I am today. Sort of related, but sort of unrelated thing is, this might sound really odd, but I don't know if any of you have seen Final Destination. It's like horror movies, and I won't explain what happens in the movie, but the scenes itself. But essentially, characters have premonitions. It's like foresight, right? It's like they see things that happen before it actually happens. In Final Destination, it's like all bad stuff. It's all bad stuff. It's like the character sees stuff before it happens. Essentially, they have visions and whatnot of what happens before it happens. It's weird because sometimes I have dreams, and then some point in future, it will like happen. I sound like out of this world right now. It's like Final Destination all over again. And then some point in future, it happens, and I'm like, this is for example, when I started my first job and I was in orientation, right? It felt like I've been there before, even though I have never been in that building. I've never done anything with that organization, like no previous volunteering. I never met anyone at the organization before. But it's like deja vu. It's like I have been here. And it's like, have I seen this in like a dream before? I had. It felt so, it felt like I was living it again. It's like I've seen it in a dream and then I'm like living it in real life now. And it's weird because the same thing happened with my second job. It's like when I walked into that building for like to meet the team for the first time, it's like I've never set foot in this building in my life. I've never been here before in my entire life. I've never, it just like, it was like deja vu again. This might, like, I probably sound out of this world right now. But it happened again with my third job, like my current job. Not so much the induction part, but sitting at the table and the environment felt so similar. Like the table with the three colleagues, and then like it felt like deja vu. Like that moment I had lunch with my colleagues on that like day, it felt like deja vu. It's like I had a foresight of it somewhere. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it properly. It's what the universe and life, like the universe and all the, sometimes I experience things that I don't know how to explain, like this. It's like Final Destination in real life, except that it's not all bad. This is not like a premonition thing, but yesterday, no, yeah, a few days ago I was driving at night and I was like, I had to get up early for work that day and I was a little bit sleep deprived. And then I was waiting at a red light, right? So there were 3 lanes and then there was a right turn lane. So in Australia, I live in Melbourne. For those of you who are overseas and might not drive on the same side of the road. So in Australia, we drive on the left side of the road. I was in the right lane and then there was a right turn lane next to me. So my lane was only going straight. It wasn't a right turn lane. It was only one right turn lane and I was in the going straight lane on the right side out of 3 lanes. The green right turn arrow, the right turn arrow turned green. And when I saw it, I don't know why, my subconscious like, go. My subconscious was like, go, and I took my foot off the brake and I started accelerating. And then like a second later, I looked at the light again. I'm like, it's red. And I like stopped. I was like partially in the intersection. Like the thing is when I accelerate, I don't just zoom into the intersection. I slowly accelerate and I like look for traffic and then I just accelerate, like build speed after that. I don't just zoom like this through the intersection. I started going a little bit and I looked at the light again. I'm like, what the fuck? And it's red. And then I braked. I was partially in the intersection. And I'm like, oh shit, like, oh shit, oh shit. And then 2 seconds later, my actual light, like 2 or 3 seconds later, or it felt very short unless my mind's like time warp. No, it was like 2 or 3 seconds later. The light for me to go actually turned green. And then I went. And I'm like, it's like the universe has my back in a way because I could have been like partially in the intersection and then like traffic from this way comes or like traffic from the other side comes. But I was there and then 2 or 3 seconds later, my light actually turned green and I went. And I'm like, it could have ended a lot worse. Me being in this very awkward predicament here. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird that my brain thought it was go like the the signal to go straight was red. My brain saw green, and then I thought it was go. At least I realized like a second later, but then it was already a little bit too late. Yeah, back to my point. Yeah, this like it's like this sequence of events. I accidentally misread the the go signal. I end up partially intoxicated. My light actually turns green a few seconds later. I'm like, this sequence of events could have been so much different, yet it ended up like this. I'm like, wow, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't really know what else to add to this video at the moment. If more stuff comes out, I might make a different video just to elaborate further on thoughts that I might not have right now. I keep looking at, if I look up there, it's because of it's the time. It's past midnight. Yeah, I don't really know what else to add. Yeah, I hope you found the video interesting. It's like a sort of a, not sort of, it's a very different topic to what I usually film. But I think I do enjoy like sometimes just exploring concepts and experiences, even though it's not like, yes, I figured it out. I have answers. I can talk about this confidently. It's like, I'm just sort of exploring this really, this concept, and just making videos about things that I might not be confident in, just like talking and just sharing thoughts and ideas and maybe food for thought. Yeah, thanks for watching folks, and I will see you in the next video.